The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
Today on Mr. Media, I'll talk to novelist Cynthia Kraack, author of the Ashwood speculative fiction trilogy. Her latest novel is also a multi-generational drama, but The High Cost of Flowers is very much in the here and now. And this is Cynthia's fourth appearance on Mr. Media. Stick around, because when your mama approaches the end of her life, you'll want to remember how the Kemper family behaved, and probably do the exact opposite. So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is the Mr. Media Interview, brought to you today by Amazon.com. When you visit MrMedia.com and click on any of the links to purchase books, music, movies, gift certificates, or anything else through our Amazon link, you support this free video podcast. Whenever you need something else from Amazon, please consider returning to MrMedia.com to order it. It doesn't cost you any extra, and we sure appreciate the support. And don't forget, MrMedia.com has more than 1,200 celebrity audio and video interviews archived on the site. That's hundreds upon hundreds of hours free entertainment. Subscribe for free on MrMedia.com, and you'll instantly get an email every time a new interview is posted. You can also watch and subscribe to the show on YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion, the Realm Network, and Frequency.com. And if you prefer to just listen, Mr. Media is also available for free on iTunes, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Blueberry, TuneIn, Blog Talk Radio, Podfeed.net, and Player FM. You can subscribe to any of those services and never miss another episode. Finally, you can interact with Mr. Media Interviews on all kinds of social media, including Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and more. Friend or follow us, we'll friend or follow you back. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Mr. Media is recorded live before a studio audience of extended families dealing with the AAAs, alcoholism, Alzheimer's, and adolescence in the new media capital of the world, St. Petersburg, Florida. Here's how I know Cynthia Kraack is a top-flight author. Coming off publication of the final book in her generation-spanning speculative fiction trilogy, Ashwood, she has written a new book that is completely different than what preceded it, but maintains echoes of what made the Ashwood series so compelling. Family, family, and more family. In The High Cost of Flowers, Kraack presents us with the Kemper family. They're just like your family and mine, except the author gives the reader access to all of their secrets, warts and all. Driving the action is the crumbling home life of the family patriarch, Art Kemper, who realizes he can no longer provide home care for his alcoholic, Alzheimer's-stricken wife, Catherine. We also meet their three children, the estranged eldest daughter, the emotionally detached middle son who is ever present but not to anyone's advantage, and the youngest daughter who can only survive the day, any day, with the help of mother's little helpers and a few ounces, to wash it down. Oh, and each of the Kemper children has children of their own. This is a story that can be a tough read in that it is so close to the boiling depths of family hell. Yet it is a page-turner thanks to the deft plotting, intricate details, and sharply written dialogue by the remarkable Cynthia Kraack. And, by fortunate coincidence, Cynthia is joining us the morning after receiving 2 awards, not 1, 2 awards for the same book, The High Cost of Flowers. She received Best Literary Fiction and Best Contemporary Fiction from the Midwest Book Awards, sponsored by the Midwest Independent Book Publishers. That is really cool. There are very good reasons that this is Cynthia Kraack's 4th appearance on Mr. Media, and I will guarantee you there will be more. Cynthia Kraack, welcome back to Mr. Media.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Wow, I've never spoken to you as an award winner of this magnitude.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Actually, my very first book, Minnesota Cold, which we haven't discussed, won the Northeastern Book Award for fiction. But this was kind of sweeter. It's a bigger competition.
2 awards in one night for the same book. I think that's a magnitude.
Well, thank you. The publisher decided to enter it in two categories, and so different judges both chose it. So yeah.
It's pretty exciting. I mean, you were actually there in person. Was there a dinner? How was this? Tell us about it.
It was a gala, wine. They called it a gala, wine and hors d'oeuvres, and a lot of socializing, and then just presentation of awards in kind of a rapid style. I had a little acceptance speech, but they didn't give you that time to do it, so it was pretty exciting.
Was it on television?
No, no,
Then
even
why
though
couldn't they give you the time to read your acceptance speech?
well, because they had so many categories. This is, you had everything from illustrated children's books and travel books and poetry, and so they didn't. They
Well,
didn't. But that's
Midwest
okay.
Book Awards people, when you're watching this, and I know you will, give the people a chance to say something. Oh my God! I
It
was
was
going to
pretty
say
fun.
if it was on Minnesota Public Television or something. Okay, I get it. Time is limited.
Right,
Let the people
right.
talk.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
you're welcome. But I mean, very exciting. Your husband was there with you, I guess.
My husband and publisher and a really good writing friend of mine came along as well. And we had an agreement to party afterwards, whether I won or not, because being a finalist isn't a horribly bad thing. But actually walking off with the awards was pretty sweet.
Now, when they do this, you've got a program in front of you, so you probably know
Yes.
when the award is coming, right?
Right.
Okay, so
Right.
a little anxiety there leading up to knowing.
I was, and I thought, this is hardly like a Grammy or something, but maybe because it meant so much to me. I found like this last week, it was kind of always in my mind, and didn't sleep very well the night before, and didn't sleep a lot last night. So this weekend could be a restful time, I hope.
And which award did they announce first?
The contemporary fiction,
So
and
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, please.
Well, I mean, and so that was, I mean, I was really excited to receive that, and the literary fiction was up against a couple of authors who have a lot of awards already for the books, in fact, that were nominated, and so I didn't expect to get that. And when it was announced, I stood up and I probably looked like a fire hose had gone off someplace because I just was so totally shocked as I moved forward.
And so once you've got this one, how long do you have to wait for them to call the second one?
There were, I think it was like maybe two categories
Oh,
down. I can't remember what was in between, like some historical and some genre fiction or whatever. But yeah,
and you must
it
have
was
been
pretty
thinking,
exciting.
okay, I'm not going to win a second one. I should just be enjoying the
Right,
first one.
right, exactly. There was a little part of me that was like, God, would it be sweet to get both of them? But mostly, I was just sitting there holding the one and going, my night is perfect. So I didn't expect to do a sweep.
I love your honesty. The only similar experience I've had was it was something I didn't even know. A magazine I'd worked for. They every year they entered articles, cover stories and such into this Florida award thing. I don't know.
Mhm.
There it is. It's called there's my one award. The
Oh,
Publishing in Paradise Award, and I didn't
okay.
know. They didn't tell me that they had entered anything of mine. They never told me. And then that night they got back, or the next night I guess they got back, and I got a call from the editor. He says, "Hey," he says, "I just want to let you know you won 3 awards." I said, "For what? What are you talking about?" I mean, I had no idea. So I did not have the opportunity to go to the awards.
Yeah,
B, I didn't know I'd been entered in the awards. But then the next day, I got 3 of these lovely little lucite or whatever the hell they're made
sweet.
of, glass,
Yeah, yeah.
cheap plastic. Who
That's pretty
knows?
cool.
Yeah, so I'm very excited that you got to be there. I'm very envious.
It
It's so
was
cool.
it was pretty cool, and a lot of writers weren't because if they weren't there from Michigan and all kinds of different places. So I'm really glad it was here in Minnesota that the award ceremony took place. Yeah,
Very nice. And
I may
especially,
have traveled.
you might have gone somewhere for this.
I might have. It all depends. If it was like in Arkansas, I'm not sure. No, I shouldn't say that.
Well, there goes the sales in Arkansas,
Yeah, right, right.
both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, well, and I mean, the significance of this too is that you were coming off the last 3 books were all part of this trilogy, as I've
Right.
noted. You were kind of tied to this for a long time,
Right.
and then suddenly you're going from some time in the future to the here and now,
Right.
and who knew how that could go?
Exactly. And the book, actually, I started the book in about 2004 or 5-ish as a collection of short stories about this elderly couple. And so it's been a long time in the writing, and I had a number of agents who read all the way through it, who kept doing, the 30 pages, send me 90 pages, whatever. And most of them felt like it was a bit raw, that it would be a difficult book for them to place. So to then win some awards for it kind of really makes the winning a little bit sweeter in some ways. And so you will tell me whether you think it was too raw or not.
To me, the only sense in which it was raw was that it just really cuts to the bone. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm reading it and I'm going, man, I've lived this several
Mm-hmm.
times with family. I mean, having handled 5 different elder relatives through nursing
Mm.
homes and Alzheimer's and cancer, end of the life 5 times. I mean, I don't know. I look back and I think I must be even older than I am, because how could I possibly done it? But and then
Yeah.
family situations of alcoholism. I mean, everybody's got this stuff going on, but you read it
Right.
here and it just really cuts to the quick. So in that regard, yeah, I thought it was raw, but not in the sense that the writing was not raw. The writing was perfection. I mean, it was great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're probably thinking, why did I spend all that time on Ashwood when my first novel won that award, and now I move on from Ashwood and I win 2 in one night? What the hell?
Well, that was a 3-book contract with the publisher of the first book, and I mean, I enjoyed it, but this is really, I think, more a more comfortable place to be. I mean, and I certainly would say that, I'm agreeing with many really good writers who say that time is often the major ingredient in what makes a book stronger. Taking the time to really, not to rush a book a year, but to be able to write it and rewrite it and revisit it, and it makes a world of difference for me.
And how much of this kind of family stuff have you lived through?
um, well, the character of Art, in some ways, was modeled off of, or at least inspired by my dad, because my mother did, in fact, have a series of strokes when she was older than Catherine. And watching him care for her and all the patience and that kind of long dedication or devotion to a spouse. So there was that piece. We've had some unhealthy relationships with alcohol in our family as well, but that's about, well, and the Catholicism. My folks were very strong Catholics, but that's about where it stops. The rest is, and this is a good question, because I actually, before releasing the book, made sure I connected with each kind of remaining family member to say, this is, if you want to read in advance, I just want to make sure that I don't get questions later on about, who am I in the book, or whatever, that this is fiction.
Did you change any details at the last minute, thinking, maybe I'm indicating someone I know a little too closely here?
Um, no, I didn't. I didn't. Although I did hear from one person, because my father's stepmother's name was Catherine, and so there was someone who said, "Gee, was there anything?" And that was just purely accidental. I mean, she passed away when I was a kid, so it was like in almost every family there are names that you are going to accidentally walk over, right?
But
So
there's only so
no,
many names in the world, folks. And
yeah,
they're, I say that, but I mean, we know that these days there are a lot of made up names
a lot
that
more.
did not
Right,
exist a generation ago. However,
right,
there are only so many to pick from that,
right,
and Catherine
right.
is fairly common.
Common. Yeah,
We've got 1 or 2 of those in our family.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Not like her, but.
Right. Right.
Um, it's it's just kind of remarkable because I mean I thought that Rachel, who's the lead
Hmm.
in The High Cost of Flowers, had a lot of characteristics similar to Annie in
Yeah.
Ashwood. Very strong women,
Hmm.
able to do a lot of things. I mean, we know there are women like that. My suspicion has been in the past and continues to be that you are probably a lot like Rachel and Annie in many ways. That you have that kind of strength of character that they have, and I don't know. I mean, all of our interactions have been like this.
Hmm.
We haven't, we haven't like spent a weekend hanging
Right.
out, but my sense is that I'm seeing a lot of either, well, and maybe it's you, and maybe it's who you would like to be. I think is maybe some of that could be. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I do think there are parts in both those characters that I would like to be more like. Um, but I'm also aware that I'm a person with a lot of resiliency, and someone who hasn't been afraid to try multiple things.
Hmm.
Um, and so that's a piece that's in common with both of these women. They haven't just kind of walked a straight and narrow with their lives. Yeah.
Now, I'm always very careful not to give away too much from the plot.
Okay.
But one of the things about Rachel, the eldest daughter, is that
Hmm.
she is essentially estranged from her parents
Yeah.
and her siblings, and
Hmm.
is dragged into this drama, kicking and screaming to some effect. She's got her own family drama at home, which we don't have to go into, but uh,
Hmm.
she's she's the swirling nexus of all these family members who lack her certain balance, and that apparently is why her mother has years earlier had just kind of cut. Well, there's a lot of reasons, but
Hmm. Yeah.
but she has that resilience. She's a very strong person. She's got a strong will. She's got a strong soul, and her mother clearly couldn't handle it, and her dad was always bowing to her mother.
Hmm.
Um, that's a pretty hard place to be for someone like that, and then to be the oldest sibling, and then the other siblings really don't know what to make of that person.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, it's a complex family, and there are little parts of, I think, with a lot of our writing, that you pull in pieces of people that you know. And I remember a woman I worked with who very proudly one staff meeting before we got into doing whatever we were doing, let us all know that she had staged kind of um, a direct confrontation with her parents to say that she was withdrawing from the family. Um, and I was so blown away. I thought, my God, how do you do that? But for her, it took a lot of strength. She'd thought it through. Um, and some of those things kind of peel your innocence back from like how you've lived, to understand that there are there are lots of complex ways that people connect or don't connect.
We I see the differences between my wife's family and mine. I mean, I talk to my
Hmm.
brother and sister and my mom every week. Sometimes more than once a week. Her brother has passed, but he was estranged from the family for a long time, and there was estrangement with her sister as well. And fortunately, that all kind of is resolved in one way or another. But yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, families, one family to the next, are so different, and then when you pull these families
Right.
in together, and you do that as well. I mean, it's not just we're not just dealing with the parents and their three children. There's the three spouses. There's each family,
Right.
each child has their own children to deal with and their own marital situations. It's messy, messy, messy,
Hmm.
messy.
Hmm.
So, but I mean, a TV show like Modern Family pulls on the gay couple and the children and the Hispanic wife, or not
Yep.
Hispanic, the Colombian wife, and the elderly her elderly husband, and just all these things. This is similar in that everything is so different, and it's this melting pot that I can't imagine a family that could not connect to this, especially as we all move into this situation of dealing with
Hmm.
an elderly parent or grandparent who is ill and needs a lot of care.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is so absorbing to watch friends and neighbors go through that kind of end of their adult parents' ability to be independent. Man, it just seems to kind of almost pull them out of normal living for however long it takes. When you asked the question about whether I changed anything before, there was actually it reminded me, there was actually a scene, the Thanksgiving. We always have to have a family holiday dinner to like complete any dysfunctional family book. But I had written that scene quite different, and it dealt with an episode of an adult in the extended family who had sexually abused one of the kids. And the feedback from the reviewer readers was that it was just too uncomfortable to deal with, and I didn't want it to be that kind of a distraction. So we rewrote, I rewrote that section and took that scene out, and it's always been a little. I mean, I regret that a little bit, but I didn't want it to become the wrong focus as well.
In hearing you say that, I'm thinking about the story, and I'm thinking that that would have distracted. And not to say it happens, and we know it's a
Right.
horrible thing, but
Right.
there's already so much going on.
Right.
That
I agree.
It would have pulled away, and you would have kept expecting on any given page to keep coming back to that.
Right.
And I mean,
Yeah.
the central focus of the drama continued to be Catherine and Art.
Right.
Uh,
Mhm.
And so,
Yeah.
was it difficult to make the switch from Ashwood, where the threats to the family are inside and out, and then here, where pretty much all of the threats to the family are internal? Or did it help? I know that you switched publishers.
Right.
Did that kind of ease the transition and actually make everything kind of free and open to do whatever you needed to do?
I do think that switching publishers for this work was did give me a good start. That or a cleaner place to kind of recreate what I was writing, and that's a good insight about the internal conflict and struggle versus also kind of external sources, because these people really, the Kempers really have nothing to kind of point at to kind of blame for how their family has developed. I mean, they've done it themselves. But yet, because it's been such a long time that I've been working on this book, I'm not sure that there's a clean answer to that question. Yeah, can't come up with anything brilliant about it.
It had to be a little easier not to have to keep inventing technologies to threaten Annie and her family.
Well, that's true. I mean, we didn't have, and I have to say, that whole kind of pressure with the speculative fiction today to really amp the thriller kind of element of the book up was not the most natural piece for me to kind of think of. Oh, come on! Really, are there going to be soldiers outside the door or not? So this not having that kind of layer made it a more focused writing experience. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly at Ashwood, with the the constant monitoring of, you had devices on you, people
Right.
On the compound, people in D.C., people everywhere
Right.
had access to what was going on with you. They knew where you were, they knew what you were doing,
Right.
and then somehow you didn't know, not you, but Annie and her family didn't
Right.
know from minute to minute if they'd be invaded or
Right.
There were no friendlies. There was very few people that they could rely on. So here, at least it was kept to Kemper's, Or
Right. And
in the case of Rachel, Kelsey, because her mother did not want her to did not want her to use the Kemper name because
name.
she ruined the Kemper name by becoming a professional person. How dare she?
Right. Yeah. And that was the like searching for how would people change or not change. I mean, I had this like diagram of everyone's individual story arc and kind of some decision points, just to kind of keep track of the interaction and the players, and to constantly kind of tool or retool where they were at, or whether something would change their ability to change. So that was challenging, but in a much different way.
So you had kind of a Venn literary diagram going?
Kind of, yeah. Right.
Interesting. Interesting.
There we go. Yeah.
I may remember that because I still struggle. I would love to work on fiction, and I just can't bring myself to organize my mind around it. Maybe I'll try that.
I don't know, but you're a good writer. You could do it.
Yeah, you gotta take a lot of time out. I mean, nobody's paying you to write fiction until it's done.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't get to send a book proposal off and see what will happen. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
that's kind of a problem there.
Yeah.
So this book took years. You obviously worked on other things at the same time.
Right.
When it was done, did you have a different feeling about it than you did other projects?
I did. And I felt like it was probably the best thing I had written. So like a year ago, when I was sitting with an offer from a different publisher to pick it up, I had to kind of make that decision about whether I was going to try an indie press with kind of my treasured child, or if I was going to keep knocking for another year on trying to find an agent and a bigger venue, and or whether I stayed with the existing publisher. And that was because it's near and dear to me. It was a big decision, and I think I made the right one. Time will tell, but and while I was finishing this, I mean, because with fiction, you just always have to. You're only as good as kind of the latest book, and you have to keep in front of people. There's another novel that's sitting for probably a year away from being released, but you're managing kind of very different feelings and families, and yeah.
So I should go ahead and put you on the calendar for an interview next year. Let me make a note.
Yeah, probably later in summer. Yeah.
Right. Well, so there's one more thing I want to run by you. We've talked about this before, and now my 2 award-winning friend, I keep thinking. I mean, as desperate as Hollywood women of a certain age are for stories in which they can star,
Yep.
direct, or produce, I continue to be astonished that the studios or even the independents have not discovered you and been optioning rights to your stories. And I don't know what to say. Someone's got to get this out there to people.
Well, thank you. I mean, I would love any emails or phone calls would be great. One of the interesting pieces about the new publisher is that one of the co-owners of it is a former Hollywood producer, actually. So, there is a little hope in me that we'll figure out some way to play it in some other ways as well.
Well, I look forward to your 6th book next year.
Yes.
Yes. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to put any no pressure, but
no pressure. No pressure.
We'll have you back here for that.
Okay.
And folks, listen. You can find Cynthia Kraack's 5th novel, The High Cost of Flowers, as well as the Ashwood books and Minnesota Cold, her first novel, which also won an award. Let's point that out. You can find them or order them in great bookstores everywhere, or you can order any one of them right now at a great price at MrMedia.com. If you are watching on Mr. Media, you know that below the video you'll see the cover of the book. We make it so simple for you. You just click on the book. It'll take you to Amazon. You get a great price, and you can get any of these books electronically within seconds. Or I understand Amazon has their Ashwood-sponsored drone program. They can have you a book in 30 minutes or less via drone. Don't hold me to that.
Great.
That's just something I keep hearing about. Cynthia, website is still CynthiaKraack.com?
It is. It is.
Cynthia, Kraack.com. And you on Twitter and Facebook still?
I am.
Hello?
Yeah.
Although, more lurking on Facebook than actually participating.
Well, lately I have been, it seems like. Yeah.
What do you have, like important things to do?
Boy, social media takes a lot of time.
It really
does.
Anyway, listen, always a pleasure to see you and to read you. I look forward to many more projects. And as always, thanks for joining us, Mr. Media, today.
Well, it's been great. Thank you, Bob.
Hi, this is Buzz Burbank in the Buzz Burbank Newsroom, preparing for you another Buzz Burbank News and Comment. Do you like good stories? Boy, I sure do. I turn over a lot of stones each day to make sure I don't miss the best ones. Sure, some make me angry, and some make me sad, and some make me laugh, and isn't that what makes us human? I'm proud of the fact that I pack more news into my 10 or 15 minutes a day than the evening news does in a half hour. It's a free podcast at buzzburbank.com, or you can subscribe free at iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or get it on any RSS device. It's like a newspaper for your head. It's Buzz Burbank News and Comment, another Realm Network presentation. Weekday mornings right here on the Realm Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to the George and Tony Entertainment Show. Prepare for awesome mediocrity.
We're the Cousin Oliver of the Realm Network. I'm George.
And I'm Tony.
And we're a weekly family-friendly podcast about pop culture.
From our point of view.
At realmnetwork.com, the George and Tony Entertainment Show from the Realm Network.
This is Snake. Do you read me, Otacon?
Loud and clear, Snake.
Did you listen to the latest episode of the Gaming Marathon on the Realm Network?
Of course. They really know their stuff about gaming, especially that Ashwood guy.
Yeah, but that Chirac guy is a real jerk. I don't like him.
Regardless, the reviews are spot on and they tell it like it is.
That's for sure.
What happened, Snake? Were you spotted?
Nah, it's just Lowell Meltzer crying about the O's again.
Close call.
I better continue the search for Metal Gear, but keep listening to the Gaming Marathon each week.
You got it, Snake.
New every Monday afternoon right here on the Realm Network.
It's the Mark and Lowell Show.
Hi, this is Mark. And this is Lowell. And if you're fans of Don and Mike, you may know who we are.
Our number one interns. You've met them on the show. They're the guys that ate all the junk, and they were outside with each other holding hands with a sign that said that they loved each other wearing the dunce caps.
And what you may not know is that we started out as fans back in their WAVA days.
Hi, Don and Mike. It's Mark and Lowell.
Oh, yeah. Hey, these are two guys that we once actually called them our proteges, didn't we?
And now we have our own show, so we want you to give it a shot. Just check us out at the Realm Network, realmnetwork.com, or you can go to markandlowell.com.
Resistance is futile. It's the Mark and Lowell Show.
Every Tuesday and Thursday evenings right here on the Realm Network. And catch the Poor Premium Show Friday nights.